It's been a tough year for Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. The team has missed the playoffs for the second year in a row, a disappointing streak that hasn't been seen in Portland since 2012 and 2013. In fact, it's only the fourth time in franchise history that the Blazers have failed to make the postseason in consecutive seasons. As the dust settles on a season filled with frustration and missed opportunities, questions are swirling about what the future holds for Lillard and his team. Will they bounce back next year, or is this the beginning of the end of the Blazer-Lillard love story? At the start of the season, the Blazers had a lot of optimism despite low expectations following the trade of Lillard's partner in crime, CJ McCollum, and the acquisition of Jeremy Grant in a bid to compete and help Lillard maximize his twilight years at Portland. The team did not disappoint, winning their first 4 games against tough opponents like the Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets, Sacramento Kings, and Los Angeles Lakers, with Lillard leading the way with 41 points against the Suns and Lakers. The Blazers continued and were off to a great start, holding a 10-5 record 15 games into the season. However, fast forward 9 months, and the team is more than 10 games below 500 with little chance of making it to the playoffs. As a result, they have decided to shut down Damian Lillard for the rest of the season. Despite Lillard's impressive individual performance this season, the Blazers have struggled to achieve a winning record in 3 of the last 4 years. Lillard's injuries, including his continuous calf problems, have been a hindrance, limiting him to just 58 games this season after playing only 29 games the previous year due to abdominal surgery. However, Lillard was exceptional in the games he did play, averaging a career high of 32.2 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. He also earned his 7th All-Star recognition and delivered the game-winning shot at this year's All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. He also made history with a career high of 71 points against the Houston Rockets on February 26th. But it seems his exceptional play this season has little to no impact on the Blazers' overall performance. Now, the Blazers haven't won the NBA championship since 1977, when Maurice Lucas was the leading scorer and Jack Ramsey was the coach. In the early 1990s, they were close to winning it all with the Clyde Drexler-led team, but fell short twice. In the late 1990s, they had a talented group, but they just couldn't overcome the dynasties of the Spurs and Lakers. Even with the leadership of Lillard, one of the greatest point guards and shooters in NBA history, the Blazers' best finish was in 2019 when Lillard helped lead them to the Western Conference Finals. Unfortunately, they have often been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. With the Blazers missing the playoffs for a second year in a row, Damian Lillard, a soon-to-be 33-year-old star who has never had the chance to win a championship, will have many questions for the front office this season. But it's not just Lillard who will be asking questions. The Blazers themselves will likely undergo a thorough introspection to determine whether it's time to rebuild around a core of young players or stick with their aging superstar. Either way, there will be serious conversations about what's next for both sides. Though Lillard has consistently expressed his desire to stay in Portland, after another disappointing and injury-riddled season, will he still feel the same way? While he isn't your average professional athlete, having spent his entire career with the Blazers, one can't help but wonder if Lillard is interested in a new challenge after patiently and loyally waiting in Portland with nothing to show for it. The truth is, over the past decade, Damian Lillard has been instrumental in lifting the Blazers out of suboptimal situations and bringing hope to that franchise. However, despite his efforts, the team has rarely been a true contender, with only one season where they finished above 500 against teams with a record of 500 or better. It's no secret that Lillard deserves better than Portland, and the sentiment has always been that the team doesn't deserve him. Perhaps they don't deserve each other, and it's time for both parties to just move on, as they may not be a good fit for each other anymore. Now, NBA teams often avoid the idea of moving their prime stars who express a desire to stay put, opting instead to restructure the team around them, hoping that surface-level changes will mask deeper foundational issues. The hope may be that a new coach or a revamped roster with a focus on wing-heavy players could be the solution. But even after beefing up their lineup with key moves, the Blazers are still struggling to achieve the desired success. Perhaps it's time to consider parting ways with Lillard in order to initiate a much-needed rebuild. Despite Damian Lillard's impressive performance this season, which included career highs in scoring and field goal percentage, near career marks in rebounds and assists, and routinely posting 40-plus points on opponents, the Trail Blazers have still had one of their most disappointing seasons in recent history. However, Lillard cannot be blamed for the team's shortcomings, as he has been one of the few bright spots for the franchise in the face of years of poor management. Furthermore, keeping Lillard in Portland throughout the years has been a relatively low-risk proposition, as he is happy with the team and fans are happy to have him. Barely making it past the first round each season may not be a bad outcome when better options aren't available. But, over time, it may become more difficult to change course, and the Blazers may benefit from choosing a new direction for their franchise sooner rather than later. Although Damian Lillard is considered one of the best players in the NBA today, and even in NBA history, executives may be hesitant to trade him because he is undoubtedly the best player in the history of the Blazers franchise. However, history shows that proactive moves with star players have been successful for some teams, such as the Boston Celtics and Oklahoma City Thunder. These teams made bold decisions to trade star players and rebuild their franchises, leading to future success. While it may be difficult for executives to part ways with a player of Lillard's caliber, it could ultimately lead to a positive shift in the future of the Blazers franchise. Looking for an example to follow? Look no further than the Celtics. In 2013, Boston made a shocking move by trading away their franchise stars to the Nets. The deal sent Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and DJ White to Brooklyn in exchange for Chris Humphries, Gerald Wallace, Marshawn Brooks, Chris Joseph, Keith Bogans, and 3 first-round picks, plus the right to swap first-round picks in 2017. Immediately, Danny Ainge, the former Celtics president of basketball operations, was lambasted for the trade. Pierce, Garnett, and Terry were still seen as players who could contribute to a title contender, and the Nets were projected to win multiple championships. But Ainge was playing the long game. See, during those years, the Celtics overachieved with Brad Stevens, and the Nets regressed to the worst team in the league. And while not every pick hit for Boston, it only needed to hit on 2. The number 3 pick in the 2016 NBA Draft, where they chose Jaylen Brown. The following year, Brooklyn's 21-61 record yielded the number 1 overall pick for Boston in the 2017 Draft, where the Celtics selected Jason Tatum after a deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. And since the 2017-18 season, Brown and Tatum have been the foundation for the Celtics, leading Boston to the NBA Finals in the 2021-22 season and continuing to be the pillars of the franchise. The OKC Thunder are another prime example of a team on track to complete the best rebuilding project in NBA history. They've positioned themselves perfectly with a group of young players and a wealth of draft picks in their arsenal. In 2019, the team underwent a significant rebuild, trading away superstars Russell Westbrook and Paul George in separate deals for a haul of draft picks and young talent. The Paul George trade brought in the young and talented Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, by the way, is having a remarkable season and is undeniably one of the league's best players right now. But it's not just Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder also have other bright players in Josh Giddey and Chet Holmgren. Instead of opting for a quick fix, OKC has chosen to rebuild with a young core, ample unutilized cap space, and a stockpile of draft picks in the years to come. Whether it works out or not, this approach is far more palatable than the regret of not committing fully to a rebuild. Even teams like the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets have taken proactive steps recently and are now positioned for a bright future, thanks to the star trades they made. The Blazers need to act fast to maximize the value of a potential Lillard trade. While Lillard is still a star at 32, he may not be at 34. Even if he maintains his current level of production, he will likely be taking away opportunities from younger players like Simmons and Sharp. It's important to move on from an era without sentimentality and avoid letting it drag into the future. The Lillard era began with a disadvantage, given the veteran-laden roster he joined. When key players like Aldridge left, the Blazers failed to rebuild properly. When Lillard was too good to tank, the team couldn't get anything back for departing veterans, leaving them unable to replace what was lost. This is a cycle the Blazers should avoid repeating. Although Lillard's trade value is currently high, it could decline quickly if he were to suffer an injury or experience a downturn in performance. For the Blazers, this highlights the urgency of starting the rebuild process while they can still leverage Lillard's value. Waiting too long could make trading Lillard more difficult and far less beneficial for the franchise. When rebuilding, NBA teams may be tempted to hold on to their aging star player for short-term success. However, this can absolutely delay the rebuilding process and hinder the acquisition and development of young talent. Holding on to an aging star player can also result in a rapid decline in performance, reducing their trade value and limiting the team's ability to build a competitive team. Conversely, embracing a full rebuild by trading away the aging star player and acquiring young talent and draft picks can lead to significant long-term benefits and sustainable success. Alright, so now, what do you think the Blazers should do? Keep or trade Lillard? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more NBA content.